am so excited. And let me tell you why I'm so excited to sit down with you, Miss Paulette. I, obviously being a communications person, I saw an article of you and Kara McClure in the Birmingham Times. And in that article, I learned a lot about you and Miss McClure, but I also learned that you used to drive for Max Transit. That was so, I was like, oh my goodness, full circle moment. And when I saw that article, I knew that when we reached out and did our 2026 Black History Bus, I knew that I wanted to feature you on it. You wear so many hats: public servant, a leader, all of those different things. But tell me, describe in your own words who you are and the work that you do.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for this interview. And I'm Paulette Roby, serve as chair of the Civil Rights Activist Committee, home of the Foot Soldiers. I have served in that as chair of that organization since 2014. I became a member of the organization in 2004, right after I retired from Max Transit. I didn't have time while I was working to do what I wanted to do with the organization, but I still was a part of the organization. Being a part of the organization and being who I am, a young lady who grew up on the south side of Birmingham, over in the Southtown Housing Project. Moved to San Diego, finished Ullman High School in 1967. Moved to San Diego, got married in 1968 to my high school sweetheart at that time. Moved to San Diego in 1969, lived out in San Diego from 1969 to 1986. And when I came back to Birmingham in 1986, I landed a job with Max Transit as Secretary of Director of Transportation, who was Walter Perry.
Okay.
And from that position, I served as secretary to the maintenance department, to the Roy Driver. I mean, I was all over. I worked in customer service, and I challenged myself to become a driver. I wanted to make more money, and I definitely wanted to get into the union.
Okay.
So I challenged myself. I learned how to drive. I had some very good trainers because they were some of the first black drivers that was here at Max. So I think about some of my supervisors while I was here at Max and learned so much, not only on driving the bus, but all about the bus, to how many gallons of paint it would take to paint a bus, to how the oil was changed, all of that.
You learned all the ins and outs.
I learned all the ins and outs. And not only that, it was just like, it was a family. Max was a family to me. We held on to each other. We did what we needed to do. And we made sure that when people came in for new trainees, and I see a lot of the drivers now, some of them, I train them.
Oh,
So now when I pass them and I see them, I recognize them.
wow.
And they recognize me too.
That's
They
a
know who I
testament
am.
to you. Yes, yes, ma'am. And that makes me think of, so the theme this year is Birmingham has more conquerors. And I started this theme last year. You may have saw the 2025 Black History Bus. It was Birmingham has more icons. And I'm grateful for a CEO that's a visionary that allowed me to do something different with our Black History buses from 2025 onward, because I didn't want us to just think about our fallen legends when we have so much history walking, living, and breathing right here in our community every single day. And when you think about going from working in administration and then driving a bus, and now you're featured on the side of a bus, what does that feel like for you?
You got cold chills going all over my body right now. It feels good. It feels good. It feels good, and I feel it's well deserved.
And what do you hope that people, especially when we think about the younger generation, or even those drivers, those operators that you mentioned that you train, what do you want them to see when they see your story and they see you featured on this bus?
I want to see them being happy about it. I want to let, I know that the ones that will see me on there would say, Miss Paulette did this, Miss Paulette did this, because I was always out there. I mean, even when I was an operator, I run into some of my passengers right now today. They still stay in contact with me. And some of the old operators who have retired, sometimes I think they think I'm their mom. 'Cause they still calling on me. Well, we need to do this and we need to do this. Well, what you want me to do? I can't.
We all have a mama at work, though. So you were that mama. And you know, when you say that, I hope that people see inspiration, because even sitting here talking to you today, you're inspiring me.
Okay.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna get my butt behind a bus and drive. Y'all do not want me to drive. I will be running everything over. But you're inspiring me to think big, to think beyond what I think that I can do.
Yeah.
And so I thank you for that. Like, I'm getting the same chills that you're getting. So when you think about Birmingham's Black history, it's nationally significant, but its future is just as powerful. So why is it important to you that we celebrate not only where we've been, but also where we're going?
Because I feel like when you know, first of all, you need to know who you are. It's very important for anyone to know who they are, okay? It helps you to do what you need to do when it comes down to your community, helping where it's needed. Voting is a must with me, so I'm always out trying to get people to register to vote. I see sometimes now that public service is I guess that's
That's your calling.
that's my calling. I just, because I can see myself as a child over in the Southtown Project, running around doing the same thing, going over here. Can I empty your trash? Can I do this? You know, I just was always that person who did that. I would knock on my neighbor's door and ask them if they could just give me one drink bottle. I take that drink bottle and I walk up to 5 Point South to Hill Grocery Store. You give you 3 cents a bottle. So I got 6. I look how much money I had.
Visionary. I love that. I love that. And public transportation, you know, our mission at Max Transit is connecting people to places. And when you think of public transportation, we're connecting people to opportunity. And from your perspective, obviously being connected to Max Transit in the way that you are, how do you see Max Transit continuing to play a role in shaping not only Birmingham and Jefferson County from a growth perspective, but also for future success?
Well, I think that Max is on the right road of doing it, because the time that I have left and with the time now, I can see a great difference. Okay. I've always wanted, envisioned to have a train that leaves Birmingham to go to Atlanta fast train. And I know it has been talked about many a times before,
Yes, ma'am.
even when I was here at Max. So that's my vision. I would just love to see that.
Amen.
I would love to see that. And I was hoping that even with the new buses that you all have now, I know it's got off on a slow start, but I see that it's picking up. And I even went out and rode one day. I just did it just to do it, to see where it was going and how everybody was doing. Didn't say anything to the operator, just got on the bus and rode, paid attention to some of the things that should have been corrected, and I didn't do anything, you know. So I will continue to do what I need to do for
Yes, ma'am.
the community, for the city of Birmingham. Wherever I'm needed, I feel like I can step in and do whatever needs to be done to help.
Yes, ma'am. And speaking of Birmingham, what do you want to see next? I know you talked about the rail going from here to Atlanta, but even beyond public transportation, when I took the Birmingham has more from the Birmingham Business Alliance. That's their moniker, and you can finish that with whatever you want. For me, Birmingham has more good food. It's the dinner table for the South for a reason to me.
Okay.
There's plenty of good food here.
Okay.
But what's something that you feel that Birmingham has more of, and also what's something that you feel that Birmingham needs more of? How would you finish that sentence?
First of all, I would like to say that because of the history, the civil rights history here in the city of Birmingham, we had nothing to attract anyone to Birmingham. Nothing. As I used to drive the bus, come in about 10 minutes to 6, Birmingham was like a ghost town.
Wow.
Okay? No one was down here. No traffic. And I always would ride and wish, what is Birmingham going to do to have some attraction? To come here, there's attraction. After they start to doing the, I think Renee Kemp Rotan had a project with the Civil Rights Heritage Trail signs. After that kicked off, it seemed like, and after the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute was built, it seemed like it kicked off to attract people to come to Birmingham, even with the 16th Street Baptist Church, okay? Because of what happened there, it brought people to Birmingham to see. So I think tourism here in Birmingham has picked up immense. I mean, I can see it. I know that it has, okay? So we had nothing to attract us. I mean, to attract anyone to come to Birmingham. Vulcan was up there, but Vulcan was, I was telling someone that when I was growing up, Vulcan was the red light, when he held the red light in his hand.
Fatality.
It was a fatality in the state of Alabama. And the green light, there was no fatality. So with us living right there in Southtown Project, surely we could see Vulcan real good. And we would always go to Vulcan on Sunday. We would group up and walk to Vulcan. But now, remember, we couldn't walk through the white neighborhoods. So we went through trails. We went, do you know we climbed that mountain?
Oh, child, I used to work there. I'm thinking of,
And I was up there for an event that they had for Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. And I looked and I said, girl, look what y'all did.
That's a hike.
And we was kids though. You see, that's the difference in being a child and not, you're just being a child.
Yes, ma'am.
So the history of the civil rights is what's gonna bring a lot of people here to Birmingham. And my experience on that bus, it was like, how do you think I felt? Okay, I gotta tell you this story. The day that I came out of training, I went through my neighborhood, okay? To help, to take them across the mountain. 50 Mountain Brook, 51 Cahaba, okay? My church that I was baptized in, Bethel Baptist Church that sit on 23rd Street South and 9th Avenue at that time. My mother used to ride that bus. When I opened that door, and some of those people didn't know that I was back from California, same people that helped raise me, they said, Lord, look at my baby. Paulette taking us to work this morning. I felt so good. Tears was just flowing, all because I knew there was times that I had got on that same bus and had to get on the back, walked to the front, give the driver my money. Sometimes the driver would pull off. Who was I gonna call? Couldn't call and tell on him. So that's just your money gone, and the bus gone, and you standing there. You got left. I mean, so you can imagine the feeling that I had driving where I used to be sometimes get left on that same bus stop, but I was in control. And I took that, I used it to help people. I had a young lady, I was driving there, going to Brookwood, and I picked her up right there by Piggly Wiggly when I turned on 31. And she didn't have on no coat. It was so cold. She had a little kid with her. The kid had on the coat, but she didn't have on the coat. And when I opened the door, I said, "Where are you going with no coat on?" And she looked at me and she said, "I don't have one." I gave her my coat, I gave her my hat, I gave her my gloves, and we went on. She was on her way to go to Brookwood to feed a baby that she had. So now you know if she was out there in that cold like that and she had just had a baby. But I want you to know, one Mother's Day, I had to go to the store to pick up something that I needed cooking. And this young lady that I helped, excuse me, but it just made me have tears. She said, "Didn't you used to drive for Max?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "You remember me?" And I said, "No." I said, "Help me out, baby. I'm getting kind of..." And she said, "You gave me your coat." That did it. And that child that she was going to feed was with her in the store. She brought him around, she got him, and she brought him to me, and she introduced him to me. And that child said, "She the one?" So she must have been talking about it for that child to say that. So that kind of feedback that I get for just helping gives me the courage to keep going, to keep doing, to make a difference. What can you do to make a difference? We all have a purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just go on.
Wow. First of all, it takes a lot to make me speechless. I'm a talker. It's the reason why I'm in communications. But you and your story is so crazy. Never met you. I think people had just assumed that I'd met you at some point in my life, and that's why I chose you. I'm not even from Birmingham, first of all. Let's start there.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, when I read that story, and it was just something, I always had your name in the back of my head. I was like, she's going on the 26th.
Okay. Well, see, this is the kind of impact that I want to leave with people. It's something that you can carry on and keep the legacy going and use it for tools to get better, to make a change. So we just gonna continue.
Thank you for inspiring. And I know you will continue to inspire others, continue to share your story, the nuggets that you gave. I hope that not only that the community watch this back and that they are inspired, but I hope that our staff, I hope that it gives us a boost. Because it can be hard on Mondays to get up and start that work week over. But when you think about the impact that we have, when you think about the impact that you've made, you're passing the baton for us to go and do that.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I want. I want you to use it. I want people to be able, the younger generation. I want to pass the baton because I'm 76 now.
You look good. You look good, boy.
So, it's like, surely I want the young generation to get something out of, and to know that you have a purpose in life. And each day you get up, you got something, it's a purpose there. Don't just let that day go without doing something that's going to be good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Birmingham has more Conqueror.